All right, hello everyone. Welcome back to the second video talking about how we are going to make our portfolio websites. If you remember the end of last video, we got our website published. It is live, and if you go to the link that was provided to you, you can see your live website as is. We want to keep this open in one tab so we can continually check how our website looks while we have the editor open in the other tab where we're actually making our changes. If you ever close out of this live site like that, you can always see it with the publish view site. So after you click publish, you want to make sure that you go to view site, and that will load your site as it is currently live published to the world. Okay, so we're going to start now with some editing. And the first thing I want to point out is this top bar here. We're going to focus mostly today on the options that are here on the side and at the top. So this first option here lets you see the website either in desktop or as you might see it on a phone. If we click on this, it will load what this website would look like on a phone. The first time this loads, it will probably show some tutorial stuff on the side here. I've already seen that. You're welcome to look through it or to close out of it so you can get to this part. And here you can see what the website would look like if it were on a phone. Most of what we do, we're going to be editing for the desktop. So we're going to switch back to desktop here. But it's good to check every now and then to make sure that your website looks okay on a phone too. The next part here is which page you're looking at. Our home page here, the one we're on right now, is called Work. It shows all of our works. It's also labeled Work at the top. We may change this name at some point to something like Photos or All Photos. That could be useful since ours is specifically a photography website. But you'll see here that this is how you would change which page you're looking at in the editor. In this case, we want to stay on the work page because that's the page we're working on. But at the bottom here, you'll also see there's an option to manage your pages. We want to click on this. There's another way to get to this menu, and that's to open this tab on the side. So either way gets you to this menu. When you're in this menu, you're going to want to go to Site menu. Your Site menu, you'll see Work, About, Instagram. This controls your menu at the top of your website. Work, About, Instagram. It's the same three options in the same order. This is how we would edit this menu. If you wanted to move something around, like make the About page after the Instagram one, you could do that. In this case, we don't want the Instagram page because we're not actually connecting to an Instagram account, so there's no point having this link here. So we're going to click on the three dots and delete that page. That should leave us in the site menu with Work and About. You'll see that at the top here, that also updated to Work and About. There's a lot of other options here on the side, which we will get to later. But first, I want to look at the options that are here on the website. You'll notice as we move our mouse around the website, different things pop up and disappear. We're going to talk about those real quick. The first, if you put your mouse in the top part of your website, you'll see is called a header. The header will show up at the top of every web page, every page on your website. So if you're on your home page, if you're on your about page, if you're on one of your project pages, every page will have this at the top, your header. When we're over the header, you'll see that we can control the size of the header. I could click this and drag and maybe make it smaller. I could also make it really big, but I don't think I want to do that. I think making it smaller probably makes sense for this website. There, I think that's about good. You'll now see that the next part, the next section, is called Portfolio. This is a special section that Wix has created for us, which would try to link to each of our project pages, but we are going to use a different system rather than these. But as we have moused over this section towards the top, there's a button to add a section. This is going to be how we're going to edit a lot of our web pages. If we click on it, you'll see that it pops open this new section with nothing in it, and we could add elements to it. This is one way of doing this. The other is by going to this over here and clicking Add Section. Once you have a section, you then need to add elements to that section. I could do this with the button here, or again, by using the Add Elements button on the side. If I click the Add Elements button, you'll see there's a lot of them. We're going to use some of these. Some of these we're not going to talk about very much. We don't really have a use of like a blog or a store or doing interactive videos or music or anything. We're mostly going to be focused at these options at the top: text, images, buttons, these sorts of things, gallery. You'll notice that some of these gallery options are actually very similar to the galleries we already have. If I went to a grid gallery, there's one called Masonry that looks similar to the one that is in the website, which we'll be replacing. If I wanted to add, say, an image or text, we'll start with text. There's a lot of different sizes and shapes. The font and the size is already decided by our template, but we could adjust these later if we wanted to. In this case, maybe I want to add a heading, in which case I would click and drag that heading into this section. And you'll notice here it is. I could double click and change it to say, my website. When I'm selecting the text, there's also all of your typical options for changing how text looks. You can experiment with these if you like. Most of it's pretty self-explanatory. It's important to note that you can make your text vertical to add for some really interesting design choices on your website. But just remember that vertical text like this is harder to read for some people than horizontal text. In this case, it seems to have forgotten that I had a section, so I'm going to undo and undo with the undo and redo buttons up here, which will get us back to where we were. This section is very large, so I could make it smaller, just like we did with the header by dragging this button. I'm going to be removing this section down here and replacing it later, so I'm going to delete this for now. So I'm going to go in here to the 3 dots and delete this section. And it's gone, just like that. You'll also notice at the bottom of the website, there's a section called the footer. The footer, just like the header, will show up on every website, every web page that your website has. So any of your project pages, your about pages, this footer will show up on all of them. You'll see a button here that says Quick Edit. The Quick Edit button lets you change some of the things about it. You can change the text that's here. So I would say, for example, copyright 2025 by my name, which is, of course, Mr. Craig. I could also get rid of this powered by Wix line, so it just says copyright by me. I like that. I could change the colors if I wanted to, but I think that's pretty good. I like it. So, copyright 2025 by Mr. Crick. Awesome. So now we understand the basics of editing a web page. And the next step that we're going to do is start making the pages that will replace these portfolio objects here. The only thing left to do is to go up here to the top right and hit publish so that these changes that we've made, the size here, and getting rid of the Instagram button, now show on our live website. You'll see, as usual, when you post publish, it gives you a link, but in our case, we already have the link open, so we can click on that here and refresh. When you refresh the page, it will load that this space here is different, and there's no longer an Instagram button here on the side. So this concludes video 2 of our tutorial.